Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pop Culture Access. We are at track 9 of Radiohead's OK Computer,
Getting towards the end, didn't we, mate?
and we are climbing up some walls.
That sad point of any album where you go, oh, there's not many tracks left, is there? But we said this on when we've done other albums is the beauty of getting to the end of the album is you can then go back to the beginning and listen to it again, can't you?
Exactly. I can then experience it as a whole,
Yeah.
uninterrupted.
Yeah, that kind of that sadness so if you're on holiday and your holiday's about to end and you go, oh, this sucks, my holiday's about to end, I'll never experience this again. Beauty of musical albums, you get to experience them again straight away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, shall we start climbing up some walls?
Let's ping that onto that screen. And if I wasn't so inept, technology's working against us. Tom, you were right. I would have had the play button ready, but I do now. So let's do this. That make you climb up the walls?
At first, a little bit, but not for the reason that you're thinking. It was the vocal cadence. I knew it from somewhere, and it was bugging me. I
Yeah, it's
worked out.
horrible, isn't it?
I
It's
worked
so
out.
horrible when something gets in your head, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's a song by Marilyn Manson called "Lamb of God," which is on Hollywood, which came out in 2000, where his vocal cadence is exactly the same in that sort of
Yeah.
and I was like, it's because I couldn't because I was taking so long trying to work out which one it was. I was missing a little bit in this, but I was trying to work out which came first at the same time.
Note that down. We should probably pick that up after the album. Like now that that kind of
Yeah,
connectivity, that like resonance with that is in there, it'd be a shame not to pick it up and do it as a post OK Computer vid to
yes,
see whether it really was like what you think it is, or you know,
yeah.
I guess sometimes the mind play tricks on us.
But this is unnerving, unsettling, and I fucking love it.
It was it was the one that I thought might be your second best on the album. I actually thought it had a chance of being first. So people don't always like comparative, but in my mind, when I was thinking of this one and thinking how you would react to it, and put the music, the vocal delivery to one side for a second, because I thought that would, and we'll come back to that. One of the things that I thought, oh, do you know what? I think where you might go with this is it reminds me of some of the tracks that we got on the Rammstein albums, where it goes into the more darker Grimm's fairy tale esque elements, and the music kind of builds with that, and the vocal delivery will often be changed and affected to. More so in the Rammstein ones, normally it is kind of a character voice, isn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah, I did think, do you know what? This might be right in your wheelhouse because I know how much we both enjoy tracks like that when Rammstein do it. So yeah, I thought this would be a winner for you.
yeah. It is that thing of, like, now sort of putting two and two together with like the Maz one and stuff as well. As I said, because there was that similarity there. It was very much this is sort of eerie, gothy,
Yeah,
sort of nastiness that could be in a horror film or something like that. But because it's not a metal band doing it or someone heavier doing it, it's got a bit more of a creep factor
yeah, yeah,
than yeah, having as I said, having a Rammstein or a Marilyn Manson or fucking Cannibal Corpse or whatever. They do something like this, and it's a slower version of what they do. It's not as unsettling as having Radiohead do it because you're not
Poltergeist
expecting
rather
it.
than Driller Killer. If
Yeah,
I was going to equate him to a movie, yeah,
it's like you expect nastiness and horribleness and to be just slightly disturbed, whereas this is not what you're expecting, but done really well and with that distortion that he's using on the vocals is really I've used it a couple times. Really unsettling.
yeah, that kind
It,
of unnerving feeling, isn't it?
yeah,
Like something ain't quite right here.
yeah,
Feeling.
and it is as I said because it comes from a source that you don't expect this sort of a thing from. On first listen, even more so, it's a. I could see a lot of people hearing this and being like, no, and
So on that distortion, I think it is there, isn't it? But it's not so distorted that it's unrecognizable of being Tom York.
no,
It's kind of
but
this is Tom York distorted, and I think that's so. I mean, a lot of this kind of lyrically, it could be very much like construed because it is there. Like we talk about the here's the A to D, but here's how you kind of go around the block and what it ends up meaning to you. And there's kind of lots of like leans into, and yeah, again, like kind of quite Rammstein esque with some of the areas they play in of this feeling uh, of of being watched, the paranoia that kind of comes with feeling closed in, going down to your basement and things like that. But and again, this is just for me. This is the way that it always kind of led into me, and why I love that distorted lyric. But it still sounded like Tom York is that paranoia actually has nothing to do with outside forces. That is your paranoia inside yourself, and what he's actually doing is closing off inside himself. And it's a weird kind of thing to say, but bearing in mind what we're doing here, but the voice I hear coming out of my mouth is very different to the voice I hear when I play these back, and almost putting that distortion in because it's that paranoia, that being in yourself of like his inner voice, and because he's in this
Mm.
sort of negative paranoid space, is that voice would be distorted to a not wholly unrecognizable, but maybe a very unpleasant even for yourself. And I love that,
Yeah.
like, and that's how it's always been for me. And as I say, that's not to say factually that's the way everyone would experience it, but that's how it always hit me.
Mm. So it's like how so you sort of going with the "I'm in your skull" bit being very much a
I am in your
him.
skull. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in my
Whereas
own skull. Yeah.
whereas me, I'm it's more of a little bit driller killer of you know I am
I'm literally drilling myself
into
into your
your
skull. Yeah,
skull,
yeah.
but that's how shows where
But
a
but it's
different amount of
nice.
time with a song, but also
I but the things I don't necessarily
how
think it's at different time. I think it's that the song is all of those things.
yeah.
Like you could argue this for a lot of stuff, but I think there are some songs and there are some artists that are, I don't know, the way they craft it is
There's
just
enough
more open to,
ambiguity.
yeah, open to interpretation. So it actually doesn't have to be that.
Mm.
It's not like at the end and they like, you know, you see this in movies. There are movies where it starts and the good guy is a good guy and he beats the bad guy and it ends. There are movies where it ends and you walk out and you go, one of five potential things happened there, but it's about me experiencing it. Like the way the story was told and ended is they've been so good that they've created an environment where I can pick out the bits that resonate with me, or keep going back to that kind of metaphor and simile thing of you litter it with that. You can take them very literally, or you can delve into them. But it probably speaks more to your mind state. So, I said like when I'm hearing this for the first time, it's a lot younger me who's starting to question the world, but part of that questioning the world is questioning myself. So I probably went to the insular one
Mm.
because that was what I was feeling at the time. Less the paranoia part of it, but more the wanting to learn about myself and discover who I am and who I want to be. So, but like you're hearing that with 20 plus years more experience to you, and you're probably less having to look inside yourself. You've got an idea of like the world and where it is, and as we've just found out in your world, there's lots of killers out there with drills that are trying to hurt you. But like it will speak to you in a different way of where you are with potentially your life experience, or where you are in your journey to steal something from most reality TV shows. But yeah, it's part of what makes it great for me is that it can be whatever you want it to be. There's kind of no right or wrong answers here, but that's the beauty of it. Of
Mm.
there doesn't have to be a right or wrong answer. There is
No.
what it means to you.
Yeah, it said it is that feeling. Like it's very much feeling and the how you interpret it will give you what you take out of it. So obviously you will
Yeah,
bring a bit of what you to it. It then
maybe a
sort of
bit of it gives you what you need or what you want at that point
yeah.
in time.
It's,
Um, musically, we talked about the album, like the motifs in there. Of course, I think that the technological side, the political side, but that kind of feeling paranoid in the world that you are, go right the way back to Paranoid Android. I think that's all there, but I've mentioned a few times, like kind of foreshadowing of what is to come, and not
Mm.
necessarily on this album. Like having listened to where they go and what they do, there's lots of foreshadowing in some of the techniques they're using and some of the sounds they're integrating, some of the instruments they're integrating. This one is really interesting to go back to because towards the end we get the violin, the kind of the full on orchestral bit that is going on in the background, and even the last 20 seconds of it. Fast forward, and we will get there. Fast forward X amount of years, and that is what Johnny Greenwood is doing in movie scores now,
Mm.
and like a far more kind of, I say like a far better, but with 15 years of obviously learning how to do it, but a lot of the sounds that you're hearing there and a lot of the style is you see him grow into this. And at this point I had no idea he would go that road, and I had no
Yeah.
idea I would love his movie scores as much, if not more, than the stuff that he did sort of specifically himself in Radiohead. But yeah, keep this one in mind, because not 15 years, 20 years time in our time, because we can skip ahead to that, but 15 or 20 years later in the real world. um a lot of the stuff, one of my favorite ones is the soundtrack that he does to We Were Never Really Here, which is a Joaquin Phoenix movie. Fantastic movie, by the way. But there are literal bits in this where I go, my god, that soundtrack has bits from this tweaked and utilized all those years later to
Yeah.
an absolutely wonderful. We will do specifically when we get later in their career. We will do the Hunt from You Were Never Really Here, and it's a bloody marvelous piece of music. Even better with the context of the movie, but it's still brilliant even without the context of the movie.
So, as always, down there, let us know what you think. Is it an internal voice, or is it someone about to kill and tear into people's skulls?
Yeah, at least someone say that they also thought that someone was literally going to drill him in the head, because I don't want Chris to feel alone in his paranoia that there really is a driller killer coming to get him.
Or am I the driller killer?
I mean,
Am I
maybe.
getting into the skull?
I feel like I have to hold no fear because you're very far away, and I know that you could be the driller killer, but I know you probably wouldn't be asked to come this far to do it. You'd probably just do it in the local area.
Yeah, I don't think I
I'm
have to go into
safe.
Ipswich wearing an orange shirt. It might get,
Ah, yeah.
be a bit obvious.
I mean, it's not a real derby, is it? Let's be honest. It's one of those small local-esque derbies that people try to pretend are real football derbies.
So, as always, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And until next time, if I haven't driller killed her, certain at this point, we'll see you
And
next
more
time.
likely not me, if he isn't in prison for drilling killing someone in the same street as him. But yeah, so we may see Lacey again. If not, solo from that point. Sorry, everyone.
So, until next time, good day.